Hello, World Tank Blitzers. It's a Littlefinger doing a top 5 most overpowered tanks list. Yeah, the only requirement here was that it had to be a regular tech tree tank, and I'm only looking at tiers 5 through 10. Now, I can guarantee you the Churchill gun carrier and the AT-8 are not making this list. But again, I tried to pull out a tank from every tier, but however, I did not find a tank that I could reliably go to and know I would have a fun, challenging game at tiers 8 and 10. So we've doubled up a couple tiers, and in no particular order really, let's get into my top 5 OP tanks. Alright guys, here's number 1, the T1 Heavy, which is an American Tier 5 heavy tank. Recently got an armor buff, putting it almost impenetrable from the front, especially if you can hide that lower part of the hull armor. As we get started here guys, please hit that subscribe button if you like my content. Help me get to 10K and continue to grow this channel. So, why do I like this tank? Well, you know, before the buff, I probably would have chosen the KV-1 with the right gun. I don't know if you noticed, but the KV-1 there with that gun, yeah, not going to work out too well for you. But look at this tank. For a heavy tank, it does have good mobility. Granted, 34 kilometers per hour is your top speed, but the armor profile from the front is just going to bounce everything. The slight downside to it is you've got some pretty bad dispersion at 0.389. So snapshotting is a little bit challenging. Now, I know they've got players over here at A, and which is why I'm keeping my tank face that direction. I know that VK is over there to my left, but I'm hoping that that KV takes care of him. Meanwhile, I keep these 3 guys here pretty much locked down, and yeah, so he's circled that KV-1 and he's come back around. How's that for a snapshot? That brings me up here onto this hill where I can use this broken piece of wall to hide that lower plate. And those guys now can't really do anything. Notice that the AT is getting pushed on. That's a pretty helpless feeling. But just look at that reticle bloom when you're moving. I mean, you're not going to hit anything on the move. You really do have to stop and aim. But it's got just a really nice reload speed. And you're doing 160 damage per shot with this 76mm gun here. Does not struggle too much with pen. At the tier, you're looking at 128. You know, most tanks at tier 5 and below tier 4 are not going to have over 100 mil of armor. And you see there, it's got the mobility to block that P43 to keep him from, you know, getting around the side of us. So 3 left. It's been a fairly quick game, but again, it's going to show you here just how effective this armor can be as we're just bouncing shots left and right, which is the great thing about this tank. And then if you get into a situation where you've got a little bit of speed or you are one-on-one with a tank, it is a bully. It's going to do a lot of damage ramming. You know, it's just intimidating to have this thing you know, barreling down at you because there's no way to stop it or slow it down. So you can see here just in this one game example, we're well over 2K in damage. And these poor guys, you know, we're bottom tier here. They're still struggling to pen us. And yeah, we'll get the final kill here just by pushing him out of the way. So just a fun tank that I know that I can jump in and have a close battle, win or lose. But I know I'm going to do a lot of damage, and it's going to be fun. So the T1 is definitely one of the top 5 OP tanks in my opinion. Next on the list, moving up to tier 6, is going to be the VK 2801. Obviously, this is a German light tank, and it's just a fun all-around tank because you've got such great mobility, you've got an accurate gun, and you know, it's just going to get you where you want to go fast. It's going to get you in the middle of the action. And while you're there, you're going to be able to hit your shots because it's so accurate. So you quickly look at this. Up over 60 kilometers per hour. 65 is the top speed on it. We take our shot and back up. Now, this is a bad trade here on the P43. Really should have stayed hidden a little bit longer. But look at this. We can almost reload and get a second shot in. So nice quick reload at 6 seconds without equipment. We're down at 5.1 with equipment. I love to see this. Cavalry is coming in behind us now. But since the other team is not spotted, I am not going to go way out wide. I am assuming that they've got some guys. Sure enough, there they are, sitting on the hill and just beside the hill there. Really was not expecting to have to do this much damage to the P43 here in support. We're going to have to get another shot in him before he's taken out. There goes the VK. So we're up a tank. We are obviously down caps big time at this point. But here's the beauty of this tank. Look at this. Your mobility. You can come in here. I could stay behind him, but I'm not sure where that shot went. But I just didn't want to be out in the open. Figure this guy's going to get C, so we'll just wait, aim, take a shot in his butt, and move on to our next target. And this is what I'm talking about. Gets you into the battle everywhere so quickly, which allows you to do more damage. Obviously, it is a light tank. You don't have any armor to speak of, but you'll get a few bounces here and there on the front and on the turret. But because you're moving so speed, you know, it does make it difficult to hit. So, we lost all 4 caps there. Obviously, they've got one who must be in the corner. But we have such a huge tank advantage that, you know, I want to get these kills. And this just driving all over the map is what makes this tank so much fun. Up these big hills when you've got some momentum. Can't quite do it when you don't have momentum. But anyway, he's going to be taken out. There's going to be one guy left. We got to hunt him down. Figure he's over here in the corner hiding. Sure enough, there he is. Ah, why did we shoot? That was horrible. We knew we were going to fall off that cliff. But turning, shooting, aiming, you know, right at 2k damage here in a super fun, driving all over the place, kind of hectic, crazy, fun little battle. So this is another tank that I'll pull out when things aren't growing great and I need a win. Alright, and as we move into our third OP tank, the Jagdpanzer IV. This might come as a little bit of a surprise to you guys, making the top 5 most OP list, but when I throw out the DPM number of 3,036 without equipment, it just blows every other tank away. I mean, you got to get to start getting to tier 8, 9, 10 before you start seeing those damage per minute numbers. So you can literally, I mean, just trade shots in this tank and still do a fair amount of damage. If you get into a situation where you're playing well and you're not trading shots, this thing just racks up the damage. And as you can see here, um, uh, yeah, this team was like, okay, are we gonna do anything, or are we just gonna sit here and spawn? But where I was going with that is it does have decent mobility. We got 45 kilometers per hour as the top speed. You've got nice slope frontal armor. The downside is only 5 degrees of gun depression, so not really a tank you can play on hills. But the accuracy on this gun, 1.5 aim time, 0.317 dispersion without any equipment, so obviously you can get that down well below 0.3. And we'll see, this is across the map, these shots going in. Even that one right there, as lucky as that is, it don't have the gun depression, but it goes in. And here we go, look at this, we'll drop adrenaline here. And our reload is 3.7 seconds. We're doing 220 per shot. And, you know, it's just insane. It's unfortunate that we missed that kill shot. Now it was just an RNG failure there. So, in situations where you can get on target like this and just start pumping out shots, you know you're going to have a good game. For me, you know, playing these games, I only played 2 battles and I picked the best one. It does take me a good bit of time getting these games together because I've got to play them on the iPad, then I've got to record them on my computer, and then I've got to voice over them. So by the time I am finishing this up, I have seen this game 3 times. So you think a 5-minute game takes me 15 minutes. So I really don't have a lot of time, you know, to play a lot of games and put a lot of this together. So I had to just play a couple games and pick the best one. But you'll see here just the mobility, the ability to get these shots on. And yes, it does have some decent troll armor. And so again, if you're looking for a tank that is going to do a lot of damage, this is it. It really is. It's got the highest DPM of just about all tanks, and it's super fun to play. Alright, so moving into number 4 here is the LTTB, which is the Soviet Tier 7 light tank. Outside of this poor gun depression of only 5%, this tank has everything else you want. It's got all of these sloped angles. You're going to get so many bounces off this, especially if you don't slow down and you're driving 68 kilometers per hour all over the map. And so you can see here on Rockfield, going to go straight into B. There's a T-71. I really should have just stayed in cap here. I made him come around. And a mistake coming out of cap here, but not a mistake not to chase him, because remember, not all of the tanks have been spotted, and here's why. KV2. Okay, so we need to get out of here. Let's abandon getting B. And this, to me, is what makes this tank so much fun. And just look at the disruption we do in this game to these guys. We'll just take one shot and drive right on by. Don't even bother turning around. Stuart Emil, yeah, 2 shots into you, and now we're coming back to the Dicker Max. We'll get a shot into you. Well, we'll go ahead and stop. Maybe we can get the kill. Nope, someone stole it from us. ARL. Look at this turning radius. It's not even close. We can drive up the side of rocks. I mean, this tank is just so much fun. And we're going to destroy this guy, and he's just, I mean, he's trying hard. Poor, bless his soul. You know, it's just a lost cause. So look at this, you know, we've been in the game here for 2 minutes. We've done 1,700 damage. I mean, even point blank, the Storamio misses. We'll get beside him, finish him off, sure enough. And there's only one tank left. In the Tiger, and we're going to bounce this first shot. But we're going to come around so fast, this guy can't even turn around. And that's just fun. I mean, to be able to, like I said, get around the battlefield, getting in and out of trouble, and just causing chaos. It's fun when, you know, things might not be going away with your having good teams or whatnot. And so this is probably my favorite of tanks, just to choose to come out and just have just a crazy game and have fun like that. And finally, Tier 9. I've chosen the Vickers CR, and this is Pieman 3. Fellow Cruel member posted this replay on Discord, and I recently have done a full tank review on it, so, you know, I didn't really want to get back out and play more games when he had this great game which shows you everything you need to know about this tank. And do I think it can carry at tier 9 / 10 like some of those other tanks? I don't think so. I think it's pretty well balanced, but for a fun factor, this gun with its HE pen, and you'll see that he is checking out just about every single tank, whether or not he can pen HE on the sides or backs of them. And you've got to hold down IS-8 here. It's not going to be penning it, so throwing in a couple shots in there just to get damage in. But again, this tank is one that's got a 65 kilometers per hour top speed. The aim time, and this is without equipment, guys, is 1.7 and a 0.317 dispersion. It's got 10 degrees of gun depression, and on top of that, you're looking at 175 mil of turret armor from the front. So as far as a light tank goes, you can almost get hull down in certain situations. Obviously not against tier 10 TDs and heavies and whatnot. But you're going to get a lot of bounces if you are hull down. And it's the mobility, you know, that of all of these 5 tanks that I've pulled out, they all have good mobility. And you need that. You need that to survive. You need that to get your gun on target if you want to have good damage numbers. And so I think that's why I've kind of chosen all of these tanks the way I did. And again, this list was all tech tree tanks. There's no premium tanks in here, so anyone can grind up and get these tanks. And we really haven't seen the mobility on this tank just yet, but we will. There's still a long way to go. And he's doing a great job just taking a shot, staying under the hard cover, and conserving hit points. And we talk about this all the time. You want to have a good game, you must conserve your hit points. And you know, the other thing that I harp on here is not getting flustered when your first couple shots don't go your way. Remember, he bounced that first shot off the side of the IS-8, and then the next 2 were just little bitty HE shots. He's going to leave the one tank down there, knowing that he's got 2 coming around him. There is HE into Waffen-Trager, who is focused on the grill. And I thought this was a very interesting move here. not to push. I mean, I think my instinct would have been to go in and finish off the grill, but this was totally the right move because those two heavy tanks are coming up the hill, and he would have been annihilated. So very well played, good decision making right there. Allows him to obviously continue. There's that bouncing the turret, conserve his hit points, and then live to fight for a little bit longer. And there's one down. So we're on our way, obviously, to a Klobanov potentially here. And he's at almost 5k damage already. So, not sure where that object has gone. Alright, there he is. And there is the Waffentrager. Again, interesting decision. I think I would have probably peeked out and taken a shot at him, but he's going to use the speed and run away and keep these two separate from each other. Knows he's going to take a big shot here, put out the fire, but that's all the object's going to be able to do because the grill is chasing him around, and he's got the speed here to get back behind cover. Alright, so how is this going to end? Waffentrager, you know he's going to try to use HE. There it is, 642, leaving him with 76 hit points. And so he's going to reload and finish this one off with over 6k damage. Klobanov, obviously an ace mastery. Very well played, good decision making, and you know, just an all-around fun, balanced tank for a light tank. And that's why I put this one as a top 5 OP tank. So hope you like the list, guys, and hope you're having fun out there. And remember, stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.